What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So in the last video we had finished plumbing up the 180. I told you guys that I was getting the replacement part, sorry I can't talk, for the overflow, which I did. Everything is done. I'll show you a quick close-up of what I did, again off camera, just because didn't need to do all that repetitive stuff. So let's take a look at all the new things on the 180 real quick. Alrighty, so let me get my little step ladder here. But as you guys can see, overflows, returns, lock lines with the dual outputs are done. The holes are drilled here, and you can kind of see right there on the side on both sides of this piping, as well as the other side. Right here, you can see a little breather hole here, and on this side, this same thing. And then in the last video, I had used these hoses here for the returns and the overflows to get to the sump. I don't know why in my head I felt like these hoses weren't good enough, they weren't strong enough. So I went on Amazon and I found actually this hose right here. Don't mind all the mess, I got a whole bunch of stuff to clean up here, but this hose is actually pool hosing, and it is rigid vinyl tubing, but it has a stainless steel coil inside, so it's very rigid but super flexible also, and it won't kink. So I redid all of the plumbing, or at least the tubing, at least with this new line. You can see there's overflow and return from the pump, and then that goes all the way this way, and then same thing, this is the overflow from there, and then the return goes to the back, goes all the way along into that second pump right there. So everything is done. Today I am going to be leak testing at least the overflow areas. I know the tank itself holds water. It was set up as a saltwater tank legit the day as I picked it up. He emptied it out that same day. So we're going to be leak testing again the overflows with the bulkheads and everything, just to make sure that those all hold water. And if they hold water, I'm going to be giving everything a wipe down on the inside and the outside of the tank and the sump, vacuuming it up, and then filling up the tank today, hopefully, which is exciting but super nerve-wracking. So let me just clean up some of this mess here. I've got dust and dirt and stuff all over the place from cutting. So let's clean this up, and then we will start dumping water into those overflows. Alrighty, here we go. First drops of water into the 180. Can we see anything in there? Probably not. Okay, let me pause that there real quick. This is so nerve-wracking. And just make sure nothing down here is leaking. Everything looks good there. Let's move this out of the way. Let's see. All this looks good, nice and dry here. Sorry guys, I'm under this tank right now where the sump is, but okay. She looks good there. And again, there is water in here. If you can kind of see, yeah, you can kind of see the water in there when I move the tank, when I hit it. So let's take the fill line and go over to the other side of the tank and get some water into this side of the overflow as well. Okay, we got some water in there. Let's check here. Just nice and dry there. And the return is nice and dry. Guys, I think we are good to start filling this up, which is super, super exciting. I might just fill the overflows up a little bit more on both sides and let it sit for maybe like 5 minutes or so, see if anything develops, any leaks or anything like that, just to be safe. But if not, this is getting turned on, and this tank is getting filled up today. So let me fill these up, and I'll get back to you in a little bit. And we are back. It's been maybe like 5-10 minutes or so, or more than like 10 minutes, 10-15. I decided to go take a shower while I actually had hot water before I used up all the tank in my hot water heater. So you can see there is water in there. It's holding. I checked the bulkheads underneath. No drips, no nothing. Both of the overflows here, you can see there's water in there. They are holding water good. So before I fill this up, I'm actually going to probably be aquascaping the tank. I'm going to show you guys over here to my left. You can see in the reflection kind of where I'm pointing. That's my left. What I have. So I know I told you guys previously I had some manzanita driftwood, but let me show you what I picked up for this tank specifically that's going to be just top tier. So as you see here, this is the bucket that I had with all the manzanita branches that I got off of Etsy. Thank you to the seller. I don't remember the seller's name, but thank you to the seller that sold me these because I think it was like, what, 24 pieces for a really good price. But a buddy of mine actually a friend of mine was getting rid of some driftwood, and he had it advertised for big enough for a 125. That's what he told me. This is what I picked up. Don't mind the octopus. That's from my son's baby shower. But these pieces, there's three of them. This one, and this one here. This piece I won't be using in the 180. It's too big. It's not too big in the sense of it won't fit widthwise, but just front to back. This piece right here is too long, so I'd have to break that off. But I want to see if I can maybe use this in a different tank. I'm going to be using these monsters here. These things are huge. This one is, I measured it, I think it was like 40 inches or like 36 inches or something like that, probably close to 40. This piece right here, that one, that monster is over 4 feet long. I think they're going to look absolutely great in the tank. I did mock them up in there previously. I didn't show anybody this, but I just wanted to see for myself, and it looks phenomenal. So I may get those in there first, along with, I have 3 bags of pool filter sand, 3 50-pound bags of pool filter sand, which again, I mean, it brings me up to 150 pounds of sand. And then I also have a 5-gallon bucket, that one of those back there, but it's not that one, halfway full of sand from when I did the 75. So I'm going to probably be cleaning those off and dumping them into the tank before I do anything. And honestly, I might just aquascape this thing today. Or within the next couple of days. We'll see exactly what it is that I plan on doing, but definitely going to get the wood, the sand, and rocks in there before I fill it up, just to make it easier on me, and I have to put less water in the tank because of displacement. But let me go ahead and start rinsing off some of this sand here and just tossing that in there. Alrighty guys, so I've got camera up on the tripod, bucket of the washed sand that I previously washed ready to throw in here. Then I'm going to use that same bucket to wash the other 3 bags that I have to toss in here. So let's get this first bucket of washed fresh pool filter sand into the tank. Oh man, for me this is a big moment. I've been wanting a 180 for such a long time, and to finally have one is awesome. There she goes. Here we go. First bit of sand. Oop, there's some paper in there. Paper and some other stuff, but we'll get that out of there. So we'll go right into the garbage. But first bucket of sand is in there. It was only about maybe a third of this bucket. So clearly those other 3 bags are necessary to get this guy looking good. So stay tuned. First bucket number 1. First full, at least, number 1 going into the tank. So pool filter sand has surprisingly been one of the best sands I've ever worked with, in the sense that it is extremely clean sand. This stuff is not dirty, like, at all. I've used play sand in my old goldfish tank that was at my mom's house when I set it up when I moved out and I was in my apartment and she kept the goldfish. I used play sand, and that stuff was a dusty mess. Hated it. It never got cleaned. It was constantly just, the goldfish would kick it up and it would get dusty and cloud the entire tank. And it just looked horrible. I didn't like the color of it. It was very whitewashed. This is almost like a more natural color. It's already looking so good, but I think I'm going to need those other 2 bags just to really get it looking good. So let me wash those other 2 outside. and fill this thing up with some sand and water. Second full bucket, third-ish bucket of sand going in the tank. Ugh. Man, sand is heavy, guys. Whew. This stuff weighs a lot. There's still some water in here, but I don't care because this thing is going to get full by the end of today. Or at least halfway full. Let's move this all along. Spread this out. Yeah, that last bag is definitely going to be needed, but it'll give me a nice, decent substrate bed. I don't really plan on doing root plants or root feeders in here. I'll show you, I'll tell you my ideas on what I plan on doing with this after I get this last bag of sand in here. So let's get that in here. Okay, guys, third and final full bucket of sand going into the 180-gallon aquarium. Let's get this going. So I'm sure, you know, I rinse this off outside again very, very quickly. I'm sure that once, sorry about that, guys. But yeah, so I'm sure once I fill this tank up, it will get a little bit cloudy. Just again, I quickly rinsed off the sand. I know that the sand is relatively clean, so I wasn't too concerned about, you know, so much dust. Even with just a quick cleaning that I did, almost nothing came out. So I'm really not concerned about the dust and any debris. Don't do this, guys. Don't step up on the top of the ladder thing like this. Do as I say, not as I do. But yeah, so I'm not really concerned about it getting too dusty in here. And even if it does, I mean, I can put some polyfill into the sump and get that cleaned out. So let me just first clean off my hand with all the sand, rinse this bucket out, and throw the rest of the last little bit of sand that's in here into the tank. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and quickly use the hose and rinse off the sides of the tank and kind of put a little bit of water in here just so I can level out the sand. So let's get to that. Like I showed you guys in my fish room build video, I contracted this little PVC attachment thing for my fill lines. That way I can kind of just hook it onto a tank and go. There we go. So that's nice and clean there. But yeah, kind of just hook this onto the tank like that. Leave it on and it'll start filling the tank up. We do have some small pieces of, like, I don't know what this is, maybe like wood chips or something in there. But this will help me smooth out the sand a little bit easier. Let's get this nice and smoothed out. And then we can go and talk about how I plan on scaping this tank. There we go. That's pretty smooth. Looks good to me. But yeah, so let me get the camera off the tripod there and we'll talk about what my plans are for this big tank. Okay, guys, so sorry for the glare. It's kind of hard to get rid of it down here, but so basically my idea for like the scape and stuff, obviously I want those two giant pieces of wood. I want them kind of right in the middle. I want to make almost like a tree coming out of this tank with some rocks kind of scattered throughout. I want to keep it very minimal because I do want the focal point to be the fish, which are going to be these Ultim Angels that are in here, and then the ones that are in this tank as well. They're all going into that aquarium along with a couple other fish, but we'll get to that point later. As for, I showed you guys the rock or the driftwood here. As for the rocks, let's go to my backyard here. I will show you what it is that I've got over here. So I want to do these rocks here. I had them scattered, like they were lining this area here in my yard, which I'm going to be redoing all of this, so I don't really care to take them. But I'm going to use these rocks in between the wood and like kind of to prop the wood up in certain spots. First, I do need to clean these off. I'm going to get my pressure washer out probably maybe tomorrow or Saturday. Today's Thursday. So maybe either tomorrow, Friday, or Saturday. Pressure wash these, dump some boiling hot water on them just to make sure there's nothing on there, and then throw them into the tank. There's no pesticides or anything that get used around this area and around here. I don't put pesticides in my yard. Only thing I have is a dog that comes and pees and poops out here, but that's besides the point. Those rocks are going to get cleaned and put into the tank, along with, again, those two giant pieces of driftwood there. So that's the plan for that. So realistically speaking, scaping's not going to get done today, but that's okay. I've got the sand in there. I might fill the tank maybe halfway or so. I'm not 100% sure. We'll see how I'm feeling, but yeah, once I get those in there, so I might pop a picture in between here, like in this clip, of what my ideas are. I kind of roughly threw the driftwood in there to see what it is. Might throw that picture right now. As you guys can see, I have, the driftwood kind of coming this way and like this. I am going to throw a couple of those thicker manzanita pieces in there as well, just to create a little more fine details. And then amongst the rocks, I may actually take these rocks here out of the goldfish tank and maybe redo this tank. I'm not too sure what I want to do with the goldfish tank. I'm not really feeling it. It's just growing blackbeard algae all over the place. I feel like I can do something a little bit better for this, but that's besides the point. So I may take those rocks out of there, put them here along with the rocks that are outside, and use those, and then glue Anubis, Java ferns, Boos, and African, Bulbitis, African water fern, I believe it is. I want this to be an epiphyte plant only, rhizome plant only. I have a bunch. I have Anubias growing in there, in this tank. Let's see, where else do I have some floating? I got some floating in here, some in there, some in there. Java fern in here. Like I've got the plants to really make it look good. I don't want to buy stem plants. I don't want to have to deal with trimming stem plants and all that. I was thinking of maybe putting jungle val in there just because, I mean, it sends runners and grows. I might do that still, but we'll figure that out. I've got jungle val upstairs that I can use. So all the plants that are going to be going in the sink, I already have. I don't have to buy any more, hopefully. I may buy some more boosters, but that's pretty much the plans for that. So I might just toss the driftwood in there now, actually, and see what it looks like. Obviously, I'm going to have to play with it once I get the rocks in, but let's get that in there. What do we think, guys? I mean, let me see. Where can I get an angle with not that much glare? You can kind of see right here. I mean, look at that. That looks incredible. And again, I'm going to use some of the manzanita branches in here and kind of like add some little small details, but then with the rocks in between and all the plants glued to the rocks, I mean, this is going to look phenomenal, if you ask me. And I actually might just do the Java fern, maybe, or not the Java fern, the jungle val, maybe through like the back corners or something like that, like just the entire back kind of sporadically growing wherever it wants. Java fern, I keep saying Java fern. Jungle val is a relatively easy plant just because I can rip off wherever the runners are going and just, control where it's going. But I think this is going to look incredible. I am going to cut the top there just so I can put my lids on there. I do have glass lids. They are all the way over there in that corner. I got to clean them off. But with these fish being, to me, so valuable, I don't want to risk any of them jumping out. Any fish, the Altum Angels, the chameleon whiptails, the rope fish, definitely need a lid for because they are little escape artists. So yeah, the driftwood is going to be getting cut, again, like I said, right there, so I can put my glass lids on top. But, oh man, this looks so good. I am so ready to see this tank up and running, guys. I don't know what you think, but I think this looks beautiful. It's so simple. It's just two giant pieces of wood, but this may be one of my nicest scapes I've ever done so far. I'm hoping to keep practicing, but this, to me, just looks phenomenal. I'm going to go ahead and maybe throw a couple of those manzanita branches in there and see how that looks. So let's take a look. Yeah, guys, this is looking phenomenal. Let me get a bird's eye view kind of what I'm. Let's do the fish eye. Look at this. It's, oh man, that's gonna look so good. And don't mind the discoloration. So the branches of manzanita, I do have to pressure wash as well. They do have some bark and like dried up burnt moss and stuff on there. Once everything is in the tank and waterlogged, it will all eventually become the same color. You can kind of see like all these little pieces of driftwood that I have up on the top here. They are all a darker brown color, which they will all get to. So this is more than likely going to get to that same coloration. They will all match perfectly. But I mean, look at this, guys. So can you see? You can't really see this, the glare from the tanks. Let's go this way. Look at that. Let me actually, 1 second. There we go. Much better. I closed the shade, the blinds on my sliding doors there. Look at that. Tell me this does not look phenomenal with some rocks scattered throughout there. I'm showing you guys glare. But yeah, with rocks scattered throughout, you know, big boulders and stuff, and Anubis and Java, all the plants glued to everything. This is going to look phenomenal. I think even with the jungle val in the back, it's going to look amazing. And I do plan on doing pothos coming out of the top of the tank. I may put it in like maybe in the middle right here or something. I don't know. We'll figure that out when we get there. But this looks great. I can't wait to have this tank set up. My Lord, what is going on here? This is a dream of mine. It doesn't even feel real, but look at that, guys. I could sit here and stare at this thing all night long, but I'm not going to make you guys watch that, so we'll catch you in the next clip. All right, so escape aside, I have basically everything I need to get this tank up and running today if I really wanted to. Like I said, I still have to pressure wash the manzanita branches and the rocks outside, but aside that, I do have here 2 Hygger heaters, 800-watt heaters. I was recommended these by a couple of people. These guys, I mean, you can see this box isn't that big. Like, this is my hand for reference. I have relatively large hands, but this box is maybe like 14 inches or so. So these heaters are relatively small. I will be putting these in one of these chambers here. I also bought here another Hygger product. And this video is not sponsored by Hygger. I just found this stuff on Amazon and bought it because it was recommended to me. But biomedia, a lot of biological logs, I guess you can call it, as well as the filter socks that I need for the sump. So I got their 4-inch rings by 14 inches long, 100 micron filter socks. There's 2 of them in there. And then to kickstart the cycle, I bought Fritzine 7 live nitrifying bacteria. This treats up to 320 gallons, it says, you can see right there, but probably I'm not going to dump the entire thing in there. I don't want to overdose it. I might just dump maybe a quarter, half of the bottle into the sump right over those biomedia rings there. But I'm also going to be taking the sponge filter from the Ultim tanks and throwing it into the sump as well, just because obviously that's got all, you know, the beneficial bacteria that the tank needs. So that's the game plan with transferring the fish over, which, like, I mean, basically have everything. I could do it today if I wanted to, but I want to make sure I wash these logs and the rocks and everything properly, so that'll get done this weekend. So that's basically the game plan for that. It's the Ultims going in there, my electric blue Acara, the giant male bristlenose pleco that's in there, the 2 chameleon whiptails, and the rope fish will be going in there, as well as maybe some other fish you guys recommend. We'll see, you know, how things go once I transfer the fish over. But that's pretty much that. Oh my God, I can't get over the skate. Look at this. This looks so good. Alrighty, guys. Let's start. First, I'm going to remove the Java fern that's in there. Probably toss that into this tank over here. And then get these big old rocks out of here and put them into I have a 5-gallon bucket here on the floor. So let's do that real quick. This tank, it's a 65 tall. I have a love-hate relationship with this tank just because it is so tall. Like, you guys can't even see me all the way up there. That's how tall this tank is. Hold on, let me do one of these real quick. Okay, there we go. But yeah, this tank is so, let me get a towel too. It's so tall, I have a hard time getting to the bottom. I kind of have to like dive into it almost, which sucks. But I mean, it's part of having a super tall tank. Something about this tank, though, I do have an extremely large ram's horn snail in here. This thing is huge. It's the only one in here, I think. But I mean, look at this guy. Look at that. This guy's massive. At least biggest I've ever had in any of my tanks. But that's not what we're here for. Let's get this Java fern out of here. Okay. We also got a bunch of these like smaller river rock kind of things. I'm going to be using those as well. Let's get the bucket over here, slide that this way, and just drop that in there. Okay. Yeah, you can see here, like these rocks are, you can kind of see they're just covered in blackbeard algae. It's not a good look, not what I'm going for. Let's see here. We got another smaller one here. I'm obviously not going to drop the big ones in there like that. Oh, I forgot. This Java fern was actually glued onto this piece of slate. Cool. So I'm going to just take this slate with the Java fern and pop that into that tank there. Just for holding, I guess. What's this here? Oh, nice. So this tank is definitely going to get extremely murky. There, you can see it already going cloudy. More than likely going to have to do a water change on this. Ooh, the mic is super close to my mouth. What the heck? Okay. Yeah, we got a bunch of these rocks in here. I remember tossing these all in here when I set this up. Oh my gosh. Yeah, this tank is super deep. Sorry about that. Yeah, it's extremely deep and not the easiest to get in and out of. I've been contemplating possibly even getting rid of the goldfish just because of how deep this tank is. And I mean, the goals in the fish room are to breed fish. The goldfish aren't breeding. I don't really plan on breeding them at all. So I'd rather clear up the tank space or just the space in general in here and use this tank and or this space for other tanks for breeding purposes. But then, like, at the same time, I've had these goldfish for such a long time that, or at least some of them, that I'd feel kind of guilty rehoming them. And I obviously would want to make sure that they're going to a good home. And to me, there's no better home than me. So I don't know. I'm debating what I'm going to do with these guys. Maybe after I pull these rocks out of here, what's it called? I have some miraculous epiphany on what I want to do with this tank. Okay, here we go. These guys are pretty heavy. That's one of the smaller ones. There's much larger boulders in there, and then a bunch of smaller, like filler rock kind of thing. Oh boy, that one's going to be interesting to pull out. Oh, I forgot at the bottom underneath the rocks, I put like a plastic kind of like a not a barrier, but like a little base under the rocks to alleviate any pressure points or any pressure points on the glass itself. Ooh, my goodness. Let's see how we're gonna get this big guy out of here because I gotta use both hands. Give me 1 second. There we go. All the rocks are out. This tank is a cloudy mess now. I'm more than likely gonna let that settle and maybe throw some new polyfill into the filter there so I can clear that out. But let's go outside with these rocks and get to pressure washing. All right, so we're outside. Got the pressure washer set up, connected to the hose there, as you can see. Going good. So I'm just going to go ahead and blast off all this blackbeard algae on all the rocks, and then blast off the dirt on those ones and bring everything inside. And we are back inside. All the rocks here are pressure washed, as well as the manzanita branches. You can actually see now they match the existing big old pieces that I had. So I just really washed off like a layer of like ash. You see, like it's like super grayish and like kind of dusty looking. And here, pressure wash. So this is a piece, that's a piece, that's a piece, and that's a piece. They match this beautifully. It almost goes perfect with the existing pieces of wood. So I'm super happy with the way that came out. Now it's going to be time to toss some of these rocks in here. I'm going to work with these bigger ones first, and then the smaller ones from outside. I couldn't use all the ones from outside because as I was pressure washing them, I saw little specks of paint on them, and I did not want to risk any paint getting into this tank and killing any of my fish. So whatever I saw with paint on it, did not use it. But let's get the existing ones from where the goldfish tank was into there, which is the ones in the bucket here. So let's take a look. Okay, so I don't necessarily have a game plan with how I'm going to be doing this, just because it's scaping. There's no real game plan for this. We just kind of go for it. So I know I want to take one of the bigger pieces and put it like kind of the bigger rocks and put it in this crevice where the this big piece of wood is. So let's see, maybe this guy here will fit in there nicely. I may have to move some of these branches around and stuff, but that's not a problem. Like I said, I am gonna have to, you know, move things around once I get the rocks in, so be careful not to drop this. And let's put this right up in there like that. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. It looks like it's supposed to be there. Fits nicely. Then I can take this piece of driftwood and slide it back into its place here. Let's see. Give this a little twisty turn in here. Let's see here. If I go this way, no, okay, that's not gonna work either. What if I go from over here? Maybe this way will work a little bit better. No, okay, running into a little snafu here. I do want this piece of driftwood there, so I'm gonna have to figure out exactly how to place this. Maybe I can wiggle it in this way. I don't want to move this guy because then, there we go, maybe like this. Shift some of that, maybe that could work. Something like that. Let's see. Yeah, that could work. No, that can't work. Oh, gotta love scaping. Let's shove you down right up in there. There we go. That's where I wanted it to go. Yes. Okay. You guys, oh, great. You guys can't really tell because all the reflections. So actually, let me try something. Yeah, my idea didn't work. I was thinking of maybe shutting off all the fish room lights, but then it gets too dark down here. I don't have light, overhead lights, so gonna have to deal with the glare until I figure this out. I may just turn the camera off and get to messing around with this. Maybe I'll put the camera on the other side and do a time lapse, but we'll take a look. Okay, guys, you can kind of see the rocks in there. Let me get you an aerial view here. Let's do fisheye. So you see I got a whole bunch of river rocks scattered throughout the entire tank. I feel like it looks A1 steak sauce like this. I mean, you can kind of see the look here. Let me just shut off this breeding rack light. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. You can see a little bit better. You can see the rocks in there. It looks phenomenal. I had a few extra river rocks in storage under the stairs where I recently redid the floors, so I used those along with just about all the rocks that I had all throughout. Plenty of space for me to glue the Anubias onto and all the other rhizome plants. I'm kind of contemplating leaving these two pieces sticking out like that. I might just maybe modify the lid so that it comes right up to the driftwood and then maybe put like a little screen around here or something. I'm not too sure, but I like the way it looks sticking out. It gives it a little more dimension. But next is going to be planting, which will come in a little bit. I've got to go upstairs and help my lady with the baby, so let me get to that real quick. Really fast, I'd never talked about lighting for this, so temporarily for this tank, I'm going to be setting up the lighting today. I'm going to be using the same lights that I have here in the fish room. I've got an extra box right there and an extra piece of gutter right here, so I'm essentially going to mimic what I did here. I'm going to put 1 to maybe 2 of these linkable LED lights in this gutter system here. Just lean it on top. It's going to be a temporary lighting situation. I do want to get some better lights, maybe some type of pendant lighting or something like that. I don't want to light the entire tank just because, one, I'm not going to be using, very light demanding plants. Again, all rhizomes, maybe some moss and stuff like that. And two, I don't want algae, and I do want to create that dramatic kind of like the darker ends and then the light in the middle, because the middle is going to be where mostly everything's going to be going on. So yeah, I'll be setting that up today as well, hopefully at least. And possibly, fingers crossed, filling it after it's scaped. So yeah, let me get upstairs to daddy duties and come back downstairs and get to my fish duties. Okay, I'm back. I went ahead, went through the tanks, and collected all the Anubias and boosts that I had scattered throughout. You can see some of the tanks are murky now. I didn't even collect all of it. Like, there's some still left in this tank and some in this tank as well. This one's glued on the driftwood. This one's glued onto some rocks and stuff. So I may use these guys at the end, but we'll see how the tank looks after all this stuff is in place. And I do need to order the Wolbitis. Depending on how things look, I'll order it. But yeah, all the tanks are now sparse. There's still Java Fern in here that I want to use in certain places. This is legit all just Anubias and a couple pieces of small pieces like this big of boost. So I'm gonna go ahead and get these glued onto the driftwood and rocks throughout here and show you guys what it looks like after. Okay guys, so before I even decided to start gluing anything, I wanted to set up the lighting on the 180, and I really wanted to set it up, one, so I can see inside of the tank while I'm planting, because it is getting dark down here, and two, so you guys can see a little bit better into the tank. And the lights just kind of temporarily propped up on there. And guys, look at this. Oh my god, that looks so good. You can see the rocks and the wood and stuff like that a whole lot better now. You can see, all the color and the wood and everything. Oh my god, that looks so good. Yeah, man, this looks phenomenal. Again, this light is going to be a temporary thing. I do want to get maybe 2 or 1 pendant light. I'm not too sure. We'll see how it goes. But I went to go and start planting. I got all the Anubias. I threw it into this tank here floating, because I realized when I went to go start, I didn't have super glue. So I had to run to the store, bought them out of their super glue, bought 4 Gorilla super glue gel little containers. Should be enough to get me, planted and secure everything in here. And once that's all planted, I'm going to be spraying everything down as I go. Once it's all planted, I'm going to be filling this tank today and possibly even connecting the heaters into the sump. That way I can get the water up to temperature. That way for the next video, I can go ahead and add the fish in. So stay tuned if you want to see that. But in the meantime, let's go ahead and start gluing all those plants in there to the rocks and the wood in here. Okay guys, so it's been maybe like 30-40 minutes I've been planting. It doesn't look like much, but I mean, look at that. And I still have this whole bucket. So this is the garbage stuff, extra roots, damaged leaves and stuff like this. This is stuff I haven't planted. And this is bucket of things that I want to try to save, i.e. like, some extra pieces of rhizome that I'm going to see if maybe I can get to sprout new plantlets and stuff like that. But I still have to go through all this bucket. I mean, clearly I've only put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, like 12 or 13 pieces of Anubias in here. And just look at how good that looks already. Still want to add a few maybe like around the base here and the base over here, and then like maybe in between there and stuff like that. But it is looking so good. I might just toss in a few of the Java ferns too, just to add a little different texture in there. But my god, this looks so good. I can't believe it. This is going to be such a nice tank once it's all said and done. And I think I am going to do the jungle val in the back. I feel like that extra pop of the, like the long texture leaves would really, really look good in there. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to continue to get to planting, or at least gluing the Anubias and a couple pieces of boost that I have in here and the Java fern in there onto the driftwood and stuff like that. So let's get back to it. Alrighty, guys. So I think I'm done planting. I still have a whole bunch of Anubias and stuff in there, and I didn't even put any of the boosters in there. I might just throw a few pieces of boost here and there just to throw it in there. But that's pretty much it for the Anubias and the Java ferns. I've got some Java fern narrow leaf like scattered throughout here, and regular Java fern, all types of Anubias, Nana, Nana Petite, Coin Leaf, Cofferfolia. I don't even know. I've got all of them in here, I think. The tank looks phenomenal. I'm going to glue in a couple of pieces of those boosts, like I said, and then I'll probably be filling the tank up tonight, or starting to fill it up tonight. And yeah, so let's get to putting this boost in and then filling it. Okay, now we're done. I went ahead and added a couple pieces of boost. There's one little guy right there, one right there, and one right there. Added a little more Nubius down there, and a couple other pieces, like one up there, I believe, and one right there, and stuff like that. So now it is done for now. Again, I want to get the bulbitis and the jungle val in the back. I got to get the jungle val from my tank upstairs. The bulbitis, I got to see if I can find some somewhere. Maybe at an auction or in my club, I can ask some of the guys there. But it is time to fill the tank. So I'm going to go ahead, turn the water on. I have my line already ready to go. So I'm going to go ahead and pop this on here. And let's turn this on. There we go. Oh my God, look at the color of that driftwood. I know it's going to change once it matures and ages in here, but that's going to look so good. I'm going to go ahead, almost tripped there. I'm going to go ahead and let this fill up. Take care of a couple things upstairs. I'll be checking in on it periodically to make sure it's all good. But the tank is getting full tonight, guys. Get ready to see this tank full of water. Oh man, I'm so excited. It's going to look so good. I'll check in with you guys in a little bit. Now here we go. The 180-gallon aquarium is full of water. Sump is working beautifully. Got the pumps in there, pumping the water back, circulating everything. It's working just as it should. I couldn't be any happier. I didn't put the Micron filter socks on there just yet, just because I want to let it kind of just cycle through and everything. But it is going beautifully. I may just toss the heaters in there just to, like I said before, get the tank to temperature. But that's pretty much the only thing I'm going to put in there. It is a little gurgly with the overflows here, just going straight into the water. I'm going to see if I can try to find a way to dampen that. And maybe with the filter socks, it'll dampen it a bit. But we'll see what I'm going to do there. And I still have to put doors on this too, so that'll dampen it some too. But I am beyond happy with how this came out. The driftwood did unfortunately move, so you can kind of see this big piece is lifted up. It's kind of wedged in between the brace there and this piece of wood, so it will eventually waterlog, which is fine. And then this piece also moved. You can see it's not even behind there anymore. So did this piece. I expected it to move. These were brand new pieces of driftwood that more than likely have never seen water, or haven't seen water in a very, very long time. So I'm fine with it the way it is right now. Again, it will eventually waterlog and sink and all that good stuff, so I'm not too concerned about that. But the 180-gallon aquarium is done, guys. Could not be any happier with the results. I do still have to add the jungle val in the back, but that I will do later on when I trim the plants upstairs in the 75, because that is looking a mess again. But that's a whole nother video. Stay tuned for that. All right, guys, there she is. The 180 is scaped. Everything is good to go. Sump is running. I am beyond happy with how everything came out, besides a little snafu with the driftwood moving, but that will waterlog when it waterlogs. I'm okay with that. Stay tuned for the next video where I will be moving the Ultims into this tank. So if that's something you don't want to miss, subscribe to the channel. There's going to be a lot more like this. And yeah, like and comment. Let me know what you think about the video, what you think about the scape. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So thanks for watching, guys.